Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today's lesson is about the leaves. Okay. In this lesson, we will talk about the anatomy and the morphology of leaves. We will discover more details about the plant leaves, and also we will talk about the modifications, but this will be in another session. Okay, so this lesson will divide into two sessions. The first session we will talk about the anatomy of the leaf and also the different shapes of the leaves, morphology of the leaves. And in the next session, inshallah, we will talk about the modifications of the leaves. Okay. Last time we will talk about the underground part of the plant, which is the root system. Okay. Now we will talked about the root types and also the morphology and modifications of the roots. Well, now we were going to start talking about the upper part of the plant, or in other words you can say the overground part of the plant. This part all called shoot system. Of this part over the ground called shoot system. Okay, so we will start to talk about or to study the leaves of the plant, and then we are going to talk about the other parts. So what's a leaf? Leaves are thin, flattened, responsible for photosynthesis. Okay, it's a thin, flattened. So the leaf, we will talk about one leaf. We will say leaf. Spell with the spelling L-E-A-F, and then we'll talk about more than one. We will say L-E-A-V-E-S, leaves. Okay, so it's the thin flattened, the green surface or the green part on the plant, which is responsible for the photosynthesis. So that means it contains a microphile in their cells, which is responsible to manufacture the food to the plant with a direct sunlight. Okay, it develops laterally at the node. The leaf. Okay, what about the parts of the leaf? Leaves consist of three basic parts. Number one, leaf base. As you see, leaf base in the picture. Petiole and lamina or blade, leaf blade. Okay. It is the basic three parts of the leaf: leaf base, and petiole, and leaf blade or lamina. Okay, what about the leaf base? It is the part where a leaf attached to the stem. As you see, this part where the leaf attached to the stem called leaf base. Leaf stem has two small leaf structure called stipules in this picture. Also this one, it's a very small leaves structure called stipules. It's found in some plants like paddy, wheat, and other monocotyledons. You can find this stipules, but other types of plants has no this stipule. So it can be you can find it, or you cannot find it in another types of plant stipules. Now you know the leaf base. Petiole. The petiole is long, thin stalk that links the leaf blade to the stem, so that the stalk which carry the leaf on the stem, called petiole. Some of leaves have these petioles, and we call these leaves petiolate leaves. Okay, you can observe in your plant around you or around your area. There is some plants had petioles, or their leaves had petioles. We call this type of leaves petiolate leaves. And otherwise there is some plants had no petioles, and we call these leaves sessile leaves, like this one. In this one you can see the leaf attached directly to the stem. Okay, there is no petiole. So this is an example for sessile leaves. Okay, the lamina, or the leaf blade. The leaf blade is the green flat surface of the leaves, as you see in the picture below. Green flat surface of the leaves called blade or lamina. It consists of apex and the base of the blade, as in the picture. Okay, so in the blade you can observe there is some small branched vein and veinlet appear like this. These veins. Okay, all these veins are very important in the plant because they move, or they transport the minerals and nutrients and water from the stem into the leaf cells. Okay, and also when the leaf manufactured the food by the photosynthesis process, or manufactured sugar from the photosynthesis, the veins also transport the sugar from the leaves to the stem and the other parts of the plant. Okay, so the vein that runs along the middle of the blade, in the middle of the plane, as you see in the picture, in the middle of the plane of the blade, sorry, this one marked by the red line, it's called a midrib. This is the midrib. Okay, midrib divided the surface of the lamina into two parts, as you see, because it's in the middle. So this one called midrib or midvein. Okay, so now you know the blade consists of the apex of the blade and also the base of the blade. Okay, and there is a veins and the main vein called midrib in the middle of the blade, and also this one, the edge of the blade called margin, and also you see the petiole and the stipule, which we talked about. Okay, now we are going to talk about the shapes of leaves. There are different shapes of leaves according to the parts of leaf and the species of plants. Okay, as you will see now, the parts of the leaf, some of them are different in a different shape or different shapes. So that makes us to classify the plants according to these differences. For example, according to the margin, there are 4 basic types of leaf margin. As I show you a few seconds ago, the margin, which is the edge of the blade. So according to the margin shape, there is 2 types of leaf margin. These are the basics types: entire margin, toothed margin, lobed margin, and parted or cleft margin. These are 4 basic types of leaf margins. Okay, the entire margin, you find in the entire margin, you find the leaf or the margin of the leaf has completely soft, or it looks soft without any tooth, like this one. Okay, this is a margin of the leaf. You can observe it's too soft, or it looks soft completely, no any tooth or notches. So this one called entire margin or entire leaf margin. So you can find some of plants has leaves with entire margin. The leaves of southern Mongolia have an entire leaf margin. It's just an example, okay? The southern Mongolia, it's just an example, and you can find in your area also. You can find some plants had or has entire margin in their leaves. The second one is toothed margins. So this one have teeth like a saw. These can vary in size, sharpness, and shape. Okay. So according to their differences in shape and sharpness and size, they divide it into 3 types of tooth margin: serrate, dentate, and crenate. There are these 3 are differences sharpness and size for their teeth or for their teeth. Okay, but they are all 3 are tooth margin. For example, this one, you can observe the margin here is toothed. There is a fine teeth along the margin of the leaf. Okay, and here this is the entire margin. There is no any teeth along the margin of the leaf, so it looks soft, but this one look sharp. Okay, this is tooth margin. So the three shapes of tooth margin are serrate, dentate, and crenate. As in the picture, you can observe the differences between each one, differences between each other. The serrate, in the serrate situation, you can observe the point of the teeth directed toward the apex of the leaf. Okay, they directed to apex of the leaf. While in the dentate, it's similar to the serrate, but the tooth point is directed outward of the leaf and do not toward to the apex. Okay, they are similar, very similar to serrate, but the difference is in the tooth point of each one. The tooth point in the serrate margin goes forward towards the apex of the leaf, while in the dentate margin the tooth point are directed out, not to the apex of the leaf. Okay, and crenate is different from them because the teeth of the margin are rounded. They don't sharp. They're not sharp, but just they are rounded, as you see in the picture. Now these are examples for each one. There are 3 pictures for toothed margin, but according to their differences in the sharpness and the direction of the tooth point, they separate into 3 types. As I said, one of them are serrate. When you see the margin, the tooth of margin is directed into the apex. This is the apex of the plant. Okay, or this is the apex of the leaf. Okay, so when you see the tooth point goes toward the apex, so you can say this is serrate margin. And when in this picture also, when you see the tooth point goes outer or goes outward, and they do not direct it to the apex of the leaf, you can say it's dentate margin. For example, this is a leaf of strawberry has a dentate margin. And the third one, you can observe that the teeth of margin are around it like the picture. They are not sharp at all, so this one is crenate margin. Okay, I hope you know the differences between each of them, and it's just difficult, but You just need your heart exercises, okay, to know the difference between them. So we know the entire margin and the toothed margin with its three shapes, and also here number 3, lobed margin. Lobed margin have notches or incisions extending inward less than halfway to the midrib. It is lobed, like this picture. You can see the margin had notches, but they go inward like directed to the inner of the leaf. It goes inward. Notches goes inward, so they goes they directed to the inside surface of the leaf. So this one called lobed margin, but because there's another one of this same shape, but the difference is in the distance between the midrib and the notches. You can observe here they said it's extended inward less than halfway to the midrib. So the distance between the midrib and the notches is halfway. Okay, it's less than the halfway. Okay, another one is parted or cleft margins. These also have notches or incisions extending inward also, but this one, the notches extending inward more than halfway to the midrib, like this one. Okay, now they're extending. This one, first one, lobed margin, the distance between the notches and the midrib is less than halfway, but in parted or cleft margin the distance is less than halfway to the midrib. Okay, you can observe this. Lobed and parted or cleft margin. Also, there are many other types of leaf margins, but these often are variations of the basic types above, like cerulate, and this one is with fine serration, or you can say with fine teeth. Okay, and doubly serrate, this with which serrate with sub-teeth. You can Google it and see an example for each one of these ones. Okay, well, we're going to talk about the shape of leaves according to the shape of blade or lamina. That means the blade or lamina are also different shapes depending on the species of plant. So this can help us also to classify the plants according to their leaf blade shape. First one is linear leaves. Linear leaves are very narrow and many times longer than they are wide. The sides of the leaf are almost parallel and come together at the tip. Okay. Linear leaves are shaped like a long sword blade. Most grasses have linear leaf blades. It's popular for you, I think, because all grasses or most grasses have this shape of blade. It's called linear. Okay, as you see, the blade. We are talking now. We are talking about the blade. Okay, so this linear blade is narrow and many times longer than they are wide. So it's longer than they are wide. And the sides of the leaf are almost parallel and comes together at the tips. Okay. The second one is lanceolate leaves. Lanceolate leaves are similar to linear leaves, but are wider in the center and taper towards both apex and base. Okay, this one like this picture. It looks like linear leaves, but it's wider at the center. So this is the center of the leaf. You can see it's wider, goes wider in this center, and it goes taper in the apex and also goes taper in the base of the leaf. Okay, it is called lanceolate leaf. This one also. Ovate leaves, or you can say it's egg-shaped leaf. It looks like eggs. Okay, wider near the base. So just to try to focus on this description for each one. Wider near the base and narrow near the apex, like this one. It's wider. This is the base of the leaf, or of the blade, sorry, it's the base of the blade, and you can observe it's wider near the base of the blade and goes narrow at the apex. It goes narrow at the apex of the leaf. Okay. But it looks like oval or like egg. This plant also, it is magnolia trees. You can observe the shape of the leaf like the egg or like oval shape. Okay, it calls ovate leaves. Cordate. This is my favorite one because it looks like a heart. Okay, cordate leaves are heart shaped with point of the heart at the apex. Focus on this verse. The point of the heart at the apex of the leaves. So this one called cordate leaves. For example, like this one, it looks like a heart, and the point of the heart is at the apex of the blade or on the leaf, the apex of the leaf. This is the point of the heart. Another type is obcordate leaves, which the point of the heart is on the base of the blade, and this, like this plant, it's also like a heart shape, but the point of the heart is in the base of the blade. So this one called obcordate leaves. Okay, cordate and obcordate leaves. Now you see, now you know what the difference between each one. Cordate leaves, it shaped like heart, but the point of the heart is in the apex of the blade of the leaf. But there's another one or another situation. Also, the blade is shaped like the heart, but the point of the heart at the base of the blade. It's called obcordate leaves. Also, we have sinuate leaves. Sinuate leaves with small widths at base and widening near the top, like this. Okay, this shape of blade called sinuate leaves. It has small widths at the base, width at the base, and widening near the top. Okay, it's called sinuate leaves. This shape, you can find it around you. Elliptical leaves, which is widest in the middle, tapering on both ends, like this one. Okay, it's wide in the middle, it goes deep, tapering in both ends, tip and base. So this one called elliptical leaves. Hastate leaves, the blade looks like a raw head shape, like this one. It's called hastate, like a raw head shaped. Oblanceolate leaf is 3 times longer than wide and broadest above the middle, like this one. Oblanceolate leaf is 3 times longer than wide, okay, and broadest above the middle. You can see here is the middle of the leaf, and it's wide above the middle. Called oblanceolate. Also here, oblong leaf is 2 to 3 times long at its weight as it's wide and has parallel sides, like this one. 2 to 3 times as long as it's wide. Okay, and has parallel sides. Parallel sides, like they are both parallel like this. I can draw it well, but the shape is clear. It's oblong. Ovate. Leaf is broadest above the middle and about 2 times as long as the width, like this one. Okay, the leaf is broadest above the middle also. You can see this is the middle of the leaf, and it's wide above the middle and about 2 times as long as the width. So this one is ovate. Peltate. These leaves, the leaves rounded with petiole attached under the leaf base. Under the leaf base, the petiole in this situation attached under the leaf base, like this one. The leaf petiole should be here, right? With the it's a normal case. The leaf petiole should be here, but it's not here. It's just under the leaf base. This situation, like this one. And also we have this one. You can see leaves rounded with petiole attached to the leaf under the leaf base. This also. Okay, it's under the leaf base. So it's called peltate leaves. Rainiform leaves wider than they are high. And this one is also my favorite one also, because it's called, or it's looks like the kidney or the renal shape, like this one. It looks like the kidney, so it's distinguished from the another from the another shapes, because it looks like the kidney shape. Okay, it is reniform. Remember, it's by renal form. Spatulate form or shape, generally narrow leaves, widening to a round shape at the tip. It's narrow leaves, okay, and widening to a round shape at the tip. So this is the tip of the leaf, and you can see it's rounded at the tip. This, like the spatula of the laboratory, there is a spatula, right? It looks like a spatula. So it's a spatulate leaves. This also showing spatulate leaves. Now we're going to talk about the shapes of leaves according to their tip or their apex. As you see in the picture, there are different shapes of the apex of leaves. So through these shapes, we can classify the leaves into, or according to their apex, into acuminate leaf margin, or acuminate leaf, or acuminate apex. You can say acuminate apex. The leaf margin forming a terminal angle of less than 45 degrees. This one, you can observe the apex forming, or the margin forming, a terminal angle of less than 45 degrees is called acuminate. Acute apex, the leaf margins forming a terminal angle of 45 to 90 degrees. This one is acute. Okay, this acute apex, because the leaf margin forming a terminal angle of 45 to 90 degrees. Cuspidate tip is sharp. In cuspidate, the tip is sharp. Looks like two curves meeting at the tip, like this one. Okay, and observe the tip is sharp, and it looks like two curves meeting at the tip, or at the apex of the leaf, and it's called cuspidate. Emarginate. In emarginate, tip is slightly indented. Emarginate apex, you can see this one. The apex had notches, but in its inward, okay, slightly. Okay. We also have macronate. In macronate, tip ends in a small sharp point that is actually continuation of leaf midrib, like this one. It has the tip, or the apex end has a small sharp point. It's actually a continuous of the midrib. Okay, it is called macronate apex. So macronate had, or in macronate apex, you can see the tip ends in a small sharp, or a small sharp point. It's actually continuous of the midrib. Another one is obcordate. So obcordate shape, or apex, it's for the obcordate blade shape, which is the point, or the notches notches, or the tooth is inward, like this one. It's upside down hard shape. Upside down hard shape. Obcordate apex. Obtuse. The obtuse, the leaf tip is blunt with an angle greater than 90 degrees, like this one. Blunt means there is no teeth or the apex not sharp. Okay, and it's with an angle greater than 90 degrees, as this shape in the picture. Truncate. The truncate apex, the leaf tip appears to be squared off, as so cut or truncate, like this one. This one is truncate apex. It's like it's appeared to be squared off or truncated or so cut, like this one. Okay, now you know the different shapes of the leaf apex. Okay, now you just need to more exercises to different between each other, and also you know the different shapes of leaves according to their blade shapes and according to their margin shapes. Now we're going to talk about another point, which is types of leaves. There are two types of leaves: simple leaf and compound leaf. Simple leaf and compound leaf. There is two types of leaves. Simple leaf. The blade is completely undivided. Leaves may also be formed of lobes, where the gaps between lobes do not reach to the main vein. Okay? While compound leaf, the leaf blade is completely divided, forming leaflets. Each leaflet is attached to the rachis or middle vein, but may have its own stalk. Sometimes it have or may have its own stalk, like this. In the picture, you can see the simple leaf. Here the blade of the leaf, it's just a one piece of leaf. It's there's no dividing on the blade, while this one is compound leaf. You can see here the petiole. This is a petiole. Okay, and this should be the blade, but it's divided into leaflets. As you see, this is leaflets. Okay, because all of these are leaflets. This also here is the petiole, and these are the leaflets. So this one, all of these leaflets should be one leaf, but the blade is divided into leaflets, divided completely, not partially, because in some simple leaf, or in some simple leaves, the blade is divided partially but not completely. This one, we said the blade is undivided, Here in this situation, the blade is divided into leaflets, and you can see the midrib here, the midrib in the middle of the blade, and also here this is the midrib. Okay, but this part here is the petiole. So I said to you, there are some types of simple leaf, the blade divided but partially, not completely, like this. Okay, the blade divided partially, not completely. So this is called loops. In this situation, these parts called loops. But if the blade divided completely like this one in your right hand, this is called leaflet. Okay, and here you can see the midrib, the middle of the blade, and also here you can observe the midrib in the middle of the blade of this compound leaf. Here down, this is the petiole, which attach the leaf to the stem. And this also the petiole. So how can we differentiate between the compound and a simple leaf? Compound leaf, you see the stem, okay, and the petiole, and then the leaflets arrange onto the stalk like this one. But on the base of the leaf, this point, by the attachment of the petiole with the stem, here we can find a bud called axillary bud. Okay, this bud is just found at this point where the attachment of the petiole with the stem, petiole of the leaf with the stem, but in the leaflet there is no, in this point of attachment of the leaflet with the stalk, although with the midrib, there is no bud. Okay, so you can understand this is whole leaf, but it's divided into leaflets, so it became a compound leaf. Okay, I think it's clear, but if anyone had any question, you can contact me. Yes, here in the picture on your left hand, it is the lateral bud. It is what I'm talking about. It is the stem, okay, and this is the petiole, and you see here in the axial region, this is called a lateral bud or axillary bud. Okay, so you can find this bud in the point of attachment of the petiole with the stem, but you can't not find it. You cannot find this bud in the leaflet. Okay, the leaflets no bud of each leaflets. So this is a compound leaves, and this also a simple leaf. Okay, we will stop here for today, but for the next session, inshallah, we will complete the details of the types of leaves, simple and compound leaves. But now you have an activity to do. I think it's activity number 3, because this course is very simple course, but just needs from you to do some exercises in collecting samples, to observe. It just depending on your observation for the different types of leaves of plants. Okay, so I want from you to try to collect some leaves and examples for these ones: compound leaf, simple leaf. Try to collect them and send the pictures at the WhatsApp group. Okay, compound leaf and simple leaf, leaves with the entire margin, crenate margin, serrate margin, leaves with lobed margin, cleft margin, and cordate leaf. Okay, all of these samples, please collect them. From your nature around you, you can find all of these samples, or some of them as it possible. Okay, try to collect them. Okay, it is your activity for today. Okay, and